Hi there, it's Ebird Online and I'm here with the second part of my review for 90 Day Fiance. It's season 7, episode 5, We Need to Talk. And in this review I'm going to be talking about Mike and Natalie. A massive thank you to everybody that's subscribed to me in the last few weeks. And I just want to very quickly remind you, if you've yet to do so, please just press that red button and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at mbird99. So we first see Mike and Natalie in the kitchen. And Natalie's cooking breakfast. We go to a production interview and Mike and Natalie give us more embarrassing sex innuendos. And Mike looks like the cat that's got the cream and Natalie goes all coy and shy. And they're just like a pair of teenagers who have just realised the world of sex. And Mike waggles his eyebrows and it's like watching your uncle flirting. How embarrassing. Mike and Natalie and TLC producers, we know people have sex, we know. And in fact we're only actually interested if they're not having sex. That's more of a talking point. So Natalie finishes cooking breakfast and she brings it over to Mike. She puts the tomatoes and sausages down and Mike says, "Are we going to call Mama?" And she says, No, I want to talk to you about some stuff. Understandably, Mike wants to talk about the visa. After all, that's supposedly the reason he's in the Ukraine. And as he's talking about what they need to do, Natalie's going, And strangely, she's got the look of someone who's not massively bothered by this visa issue. And a bit later on, we'll discover the reason why. And Natalie says, "I want to talk to you about some stuff. I don't know how to tell." Mike says, "What's going on?" "I'm nervous." So at this point, Natalie does fake coy and embarrassed. And I'll come on to why I think it's fake a little bit later on. But she cocks her head to one side. She batted her eyelids. She flicked her hair. I was literally just waiting for her to drop the tea towel and bend over to pick it up so that Mike could see the view. It was that textbook. "There is some stuff I want to talk to you about. I don't know how your reaction will be. I want a child." Natalie, you know how his reaction will be. It will be exactly the same reaction that he had about 2 days ago when you asked him about a baby. Let's just wait and see how things go. We barely know each other and the timing isn't quite right. I predict that will be his reaction. Over to you, Mike. "I think we're both ready." "No, I said Mike. Over to you, Mike." "I want to have a baby a lot. I'm 35. For the final time, I said over to you, Mike. And again, Mike said, "We're not ready. Let's wait. Let's get to America and then focus on our family." She said she thinks that they're both ready. No, she doesn't. Mike said no just last week. And she goes on to say she thinks they'll be great parents. I think Mike will. The jury's still out on you, Natalie. But for some reason, Natalie didn't seem to understand. "Give me the reason." He just did. You have no visa to get into America. You don't know each other properly. You've never lived together. And he wants to get everything figured out. But then Natalie goes on to say she wants to have a baby while she's in the Ukraine. And she says it could be 6 months until my visa's sorted. By that time, I'll be heavily pregnant and we can start our family immediately. And again, Mike says no. And so Natalie puts on the fake coy again and says, "Love, please." Oh, Natalie, is that all you think it's going to take to make Mike relent? This is having a child, not looking after someone else's dog for the afternoon. You said previously you wanted a strong man. Your ex-husband was so strong and you like strong men. But it's very clear to me she doesn't like it when somebody tells her no. And when Mike does say no for the second time, she gives him an icy cold stare. And we get our very first glimpse of another, not altogether unexpected, but not altogether nice side of Natalie. And when we see them later in the programme, they're on their way to a restaurant. And Natalie and Mike are meeting up with Natalie's best friend, Svetlana. And this friend she went to university with, and she's worried about if Svetlana will like Mike or not. "Why are you worried?" she's asked. "I'm not sure." "Because he's American?" I think she can't really say why, but I low-key think it links from last week when the other friend said, "Mike is so much poorer than her ex-husband. He's not as good." And I think Natalie thinks that Svetlana is going to be possibly of the same mind. So they enter the restaurant and they all sit down. They greet each other. Svetlana gets straight to business. She says to Mike, "You should know that Natalie's heart was broken." And Mike said, "I understand that, although not to what extent, but I'm here to patch that up and make it whole again." And Natalie explains to us that she left her ex because she wanted a child and a family. And he was very business oriented and they travelled the world. But all she really wanted to do was settle down. And she also divulges that she was forced to leave him. And she started crying in the restaurant. So this is really interesting interesting to me because it kind of proves that she was forced to leave her ex-husband and she obviously still really loves him, but she wanted to have a child. Obviously, for whatever reason, he didn't want to have a child. And had he given her what she wanted, I think she'd still be with him today. And there's also another point in which she says, he was a very good husband to me. Well, it's not what we heard last week. We heard last week that he was very controlling. Which is it, Natalie? But then Svetlana asked Mike about kids. TLC producers very cleverly got a child to come over and start crying and laughing and just generally making a noise. And Svetlana's trying to find out now if Mike wants kids. And Mike says, family's extremely important to me. I fully understand. I do want kids and kids will come very shortly when Natalie comes to America. And by this point, it's quite boring to listen to. And by this point, it must be quite boring for Mike to have to keep repeating himself. It's certainly boring to listen to. And then next, Svetlana starts talking about religion. She tells Mike that Natalie's very religious and she's wondering about the children and what religion they would be brought up into. Mike lets Svetlana know that he believes in aliens. What? Yep, he believes we're ruled by aliens, but it seems that these aliens are of an unspecified nature because Mike doesn't really follow any religion. But when Svetlana starts talking about Christianity, Mike says, yep, I believe in aliens and I want to stay true to that. True to what, Mike? You haven't even really defined your own alien theory as yet. And Svetlana says she thinks that Natalie can change his mind about religion, but she tells us that she thinks this will be a problem for the future. So after this scene in the restaurant, it brings me to the not unreasonable conclusion that Natalie just wants to have a baby at any cost. And I think Mike could be literally anybody. It's not specific to him that she wants to have a child with him. She doesn't even know if she's going to get into America, but yet she still wants to start trying immediately. And the next time we catch up with this pair, they're doing some exercise in a park. And Mike tells us he was really surprised how upset Natalie was about her ex-husband. He says, we've both been divorced for 2 years, so this has come as somewhat of a shock. But we're still learning about each other. They certainly are. And Natalie's really excited about doing sports with Mike. And she tells us, this is going to be our first time run, and I'm excited. Well, that makes one of you. I want to show him that sport life is cool. What? Sport life is cool? Sorry, Natalie. I only take my cool tips from Blake and his friends and nobody else, I'm afraid. And then Natalie tells us that she exercises each and every morning. And she says, I want to show it to you. So her and Mike begin exercising. And I just know by Mike's gait and the way he walks and so on that Mike's not going to be much good at sport. I just have a feeling. And lo and behold, when they begin to run, it seems as if Mike's knock-kneed. Mike explains to us it's because he's so tall. Yeah, Mike, that's why Usain Bolt retired. He said he was just too tall to run. It was all too much for him. So Natalie starts running and Mike lumbers along awkwardly beside her. What's Natalie like as a coach? Well, she starts very nicely. You're running fast, bravo! Natalie, oh Natalie, you're lying. Mike runs like a middle-aged female cookery teacher. But it doesn't take long for Natalie's true colours to shine, and she starts barking orders like a sergeant major. Try to run on your toes. It's good for your glutes. Do the same as me. Do like I am. Michael, breathe deep, breathe deep. And later on she tells us, I was a biatch to him. Poor him. And I think this is the real Natalie coming out. And when they stopped for a rest, Mike casually asked, did you run with your ex? And at this point, it's like a switch had been flipped. Natalie stopped dead in her tracks. She fixed an icy cold stare on him and she pulled her hood up like Darth Vader. And she said, I put him to run. Really, Natalie? You put your ex-husband to run? So not the army then? It's quite unbelievable to me that the Ukraine managed to fight off the might of the Russian army with none of their soldiers knowing how to run. According to Natalie, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. Natalie, he's there. If he didn't want to run, he would do. And she pulled her hood tighter still fixing an icy glare on him. And Mike tried to explain, I was just wondering if your ex-husband ran. You think if you run, you're right guy for me? And how quickly Natalie flipped scared the bejesus out of Mike. And he vows never ever to mention the ex-husband again. And Natalie tells us, my ex-husband was a really good partner to me, but I had to leave him. And the best way to move on is to start a new relationship. I don't really think you'll find it is. When you move on, that's called the rebound. And you know what? You don't marry the rebound. You do not procreate with the rebound. And she said, my ex was my past and Mike's my future. I fear for Mike he'll have no future if Natalie flips again. And once again, wives with knives is at the forefront of my mind. But it seems as if Mike might be right about something. Maybe there are aliens on Earth, because one seems to have arrived in the park in the form of Natalie. So guys, let me know what you think about these two. I actually have come to the conclusion that Natalie is quite manipulative, and I think she wants what she wants. She thinks she's so hot and so fit that she'll be able to talk any guy into doing what she wants. And when that doesn't work, and when her coy pseudo-flirting doesn't work, she reverts to type, the evil alien Darth Vader super bitch. I've got a feeling that Natalie's guidebook to relationships has just the two covers and a picture of baby Damien from The Omen inside, and she seems entirely focused on her need for having a baby. And I say this to you, Mike, cancel that K1 visa right now. This relationship isn't going to work, and I've got a feeling she'll have a safety pin at the ready and get to work on your condoms. And by the time she catches sight of your bad finances, she'll be back on the first plane to Russia, and you'll be left with your offspring. Half human, half alien, halfway across the world. And I think that Mike's too much of a nice guy to have that kind of thing happen to him. And I think he's quite a big softie, and I think it would devastate him. So I'd really love to know what my subscribers think. Do you think that Natalie's shown her true colours? And what exactly do you think happened with the ex-husband? And what do we think Natalie's capable of if she flits? I can say one thing with certainty. Uncle Beau ain't safe. Uncle Beau ain't safe. I think she's the kind of girl to make your life absolute hell. Please put your comments down below. As usual, I will answer as many as I can. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. All you need to do is click the red button and push me to my 15,000 subscriber mark. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at Ebird99. And don't forget to like the video. Thank you so much for listening. I really do appreciate it. I'm Ebird Online. Ciao for now.